curator of the Ancient Mediterranean here at National Museum Scotland, and I want to tell you today about one of the most exciting moments in my career to date, an object that I discovered in the collection as part of the preparations for the exhibition that I'm in right now, the Tomb Ancient Egyptian Burial, which tells the story of one particular Theban tomb in Egypt that was used and reused for over 1,000 years. It was finally sealed intact and left undisturbed for almost 2,000 years with the burial of and objects of a Roman-era Egyptian family. So the object that belonged to that family that I discovered in the collection, I was going through the objects that we have in storage in preparation for the new Ancient Egyptian Gallery that we're working on here. I discovered a bundle wrapped up in brown paper with a note saying that it hadn't been looked at since 1946. With the help of our conservation team, we opened the bundle, which revealed some folded ancient Egyptian linen, and we used a process of carefully humidifying it to relax the fibers so that they could be unfolded without damaging them. And it was over this 24-hour period that we slowly revealed an incredible object, a full-length painted mummy shroud, which was just so stunning to find and to see finally revealed. It's made out of linen, and it's showing the deceased. It would have been wrapped around the mummified body of an ancient Egyptian man, and it shows him transformed into the god Osiris as part of magical symbolism that would help him be resurrected in the afterlife. So the sort of raised bump that you can see under the head there is actually where there are still some of the bandages, the mummy bandages, wrapped around the face of the mummified man that the shroud was attached to originally. And you can still also see some of the staining from the resins and fluids that were used to preserve the body. It's also really interesting that it's very Egyptian, but also slightly un-Egyptian in look, because it was made in the very early Roman period. So there's all of this Egyptian iconography, but there's also a bit of an attempt at actually showing some portraiture. So you've got some shading around the face and very sensitive rendering of the lips. So it's quite a sort of remarkable representation. The crown that the deceased is wearing is actually a crown associated with the god Osiris. It's got ostrich feathers on either side, ram's horns, royal cobras across the brow, and he's also wearing a false beard, which was associated with gods as well. A broad collar, which was associated with the protection of mummified individuals, and he's holding crossed in his arms the crook and flail, the ancient Egyptian symbols of kinship, because Osiris was viewed as the ruler of the afterlife, so he's the ruler of the next world, and so those symbols are also associating the deceased with Osiris to help them be resurrected. The goddesses shown on either side, Isis on this side and Nephthys on that side, were the wife and sister of Osiris, and it was their magic that helped bring Osiris back to life, and is what is hoped for our mummified man here. And then further below on either side as well are the figures of the jackal god Anubis, who was associated with mummification and embalming, so preserving and protecting the body so that it could endure forever. And finally, at the bottom, the feet are shown in quite a lot of detail, which is really nice. And this is probably perhaps to show and ensure that the deceased would be able to have free movement in the world beyond, that they wouldn't be, that they would be able to move about. The red color that the linen has been dyed is associated with the sun, so it has solar connotations. The ancient Egyptians believed that the sun set and rose each day in an internal cycle of being reborn. And so the ancient Egyptians wanted to join with the sun and become like the sun god to live forever. But what was really, really exciting was then actually being able to read the name on the shroud, which is written in a column of hieroglyphs down the center. So it says, "Hail the Osiris," because he's actually become Osiris, and then his name, Am-Ka, and he's said to be the son of Mont-Suef and born of Tanawat. So it was really when I was reading these names and recognized them instantly that it was really exciting, because it revealed that the shroud owner was the son of the main occupants of our tomb, Mont-Suef and Tanawat. So we were reuniting them with their long-lost son. So we actually know quite a lot about Mont-Suef and Tanawat from other objects from the tomb that were preserved and are in the collection. So the funerary papyri that are behind me actually give us lots of details about Mont-Suef and Tanawat's lives, right down to the dates that they were born and died, and they died in 9 BC. The papyri say that they left behind a son and a daughter to carry on in the house of their father after them. So that gives us a quite precise date that the shroud was probably made for Am-Ka after 9 BC, and perhaps as late as maybe 10, 15 AD. So it's really unusual to be able to date ancient Egyptian funerary objects so precisely. It tells us a lot about how people were being buried in this time, and it allows us to better understand other objects that we have in other collections around the world that haven't been dated, and to understand how shrouds and other burial objects in the Roman period developed over time. We know that Am-Ka was buried in a coffin like the one that's also on display here. A chamber in the tomb held the body of Tanawat, and 2 other coffins side by side, which were probably her son Am-Ka and her daughter. Now, it's possible that the daughter is actually this mummified woman here, who's also on display and was found in the tomb. There's a chance that this is her, and she was, through CT scanning, we've been able to find out that she was wrapped with a funerary papyrus similar to the ones that we have here, which would preserve her name and her identity and tell us whether she is indeed the sister of Am-Ka, the daughter of Tanawat. So we're still learning more about the secrets of the tomb today, and you can discover them for yourself. The exhibition's on until September 3rd, and we're also very grateful for the generous sponsorship of Shepherd and Wedderburn. Thanks very much.